Of course, we're gonna try something different for this one, but you know I couldn't neglect the beats on this thing. Now, what do we get when we mix the greatest hero of all time with the black experience? That's easy. Hancock. You already know. Spider-Man Miles Morales. Miles Morales first appeared in 2011 in the 4th comic issue of Ultimate Fallout. Despite his origin in the comics, most of us have come to know Miles from the 2018 film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Since his film debut, Miles has quickly grown in popularity, becoming one of the most popular iterations of Spider-Man next to the original. Appearing alongside Peter in the 2018 game Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales was introduced into the video game landscape. In 2020, the spotlight was on him as he starred in his own adventure, which we're going to look at right now. This is how Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales should have sounded. Miles' game has differences, but also shares a similar structure with Peter's game. The open world, traversal, and combat systems feel as engaging as ever. Challenges are scattered throughout the city. These include training scenarios, resource collecting, and what we're going to be looking at today, enemy bases. Also found in the first Insomniac Spider-Man, each of the game's major enemy factions have bases throughout the city, which the Spider-Man take down. In Miles' game, he fights against the Underground and the Roxxon Corporation. In my segment of gameplay, Miles travels to one of the Underground's hideouts and clears it out. Miles isn't detected at first, so he plays it safe for a bit with stealth, and then at the right time, makes his presence known. The following battle is epic. Miles takes a few hits, but makes sure to return the favor. Just like the soundtrack in the first game, the music in Miles Morales is masterfully done. This is one of the best blends of orchestral hip-hop that I have ever heard. I mean, there are about 5 or 6 tracks of straight heat that I could listen to for hours on end. A few of my favorite tracks being New York's Only Spider-Man, Be Yourself, All In, and We're Here For You. So the web swing in music cycles between 2 tracks. The first is one of the main tracks of the game, New York's Only Spider-Man. The second is that same theme, but now with different supporting instrumentation. I love that track, New York's Only Spider-Man, so much because of the emotions and the themes that it conveys and evokes. Firstly, it's in the same key as Peter's theme, also with a similar sounding motif. So that right away makes the connection of Miles being Peter's student. It also has this great grand feel, and as in the first game, it has the feeling of a strong, powerful character like Spider-Man. And while it does sound like Spider-Man, it also has its own unique feel, which feels very suited to Miles in his story and his character development. So with all these nuances going on within the instrumentation, and then the overall grand, large sound, this has become one of my favorite character themes. Now, the Underground's hideout music is a layered version of the Underground's main theme. This music is used for both the stealth elements and also when the combat begins. Now, before we go any further, we have to make a quick segue to talk about how the music of the Marvel Spider-Man franchise is structured. So this game uses an approach to game music called adaptive music, also called dynamic or interactive music. The key aspect in this style of music programming is that it reacts to the player's gameplay. So if you do anything in the game, from jumping up and down to attacking an enemy to, in the case of Marvel Spider-Man, starting to web swing, the music will respond accordingly. That could be bringing in another instrument on top of the instruments that are already playing, or that could be playing a sound effect and causing all the music to stop. So while it's not a one-to-one version of the original theme, the Underground Hideout adaptive music carries the same motif and much of the instrumentation, with the changes now happening within the arrangement. Now, based in A minor, the Underground motif gives a sense of dread. Now this sense of dread is also supported by the heavy brass that pulses in and out. Now despite this, the tempo is actually a bit on the faster side, helping accentuate that the underground is actually a lot of youth coming together. So with the spirit of youth, you have quickness, and the synthetic and electronic elements within the track also drive home the new futuristic nature of the threat of the underground. Now from the sense of dread to the new futuristic sound to the quickness of youth, overall, the underground theme is a fantastic piece. Now, in this remake, I wanted to blend the two sides of Miles into a cohesive sound, his Black and Latino sides. As we know, Miles is both Black and Latino. And this is something that I haven't seen done yet for Miles, at least not in a big way. So, there were going to be 3 parts to this remake. There was going to be the segment where we swing to the underground bass, then the stealth section at the underground bass, and then eventually getting into full-on combat at the base. The swinging music needs to have a strong sense of chill, of relaxation, like this is effortless, swagger even, or should I say,
exaggerated swagger of a black teen.
Now while this was probably the easiest section in my last video, this ironically turned out to be the hardest section in this video. Ultimately, I think my issues stemmed from this idea that I need to create a 1-to-1 ratio of this is both fully Latin sounding and both fully black music sounding, instead of letting the influence of both styles guide my creativity and just doing something that sounded good, felt good. Now, of course, this is nothing new. This happens to all creatives. Sometimes we limit ourselves too much to a certain prompt instead of just letting things flow naturally, pulling inspiration, but not trying to imitate or copy or recreate something one-to-one. So if this has happened to you or it's happening to you now, hey, let this be a reminder. Just relax. Just start creating and let the inspiration speak when it needs to. So for the swinging music, I started with the acoustic guitar and played a simple pattern between 2 chords. After that, I grabbed the piano and played a supporting part to the guitar chords with some embellishments here and there. After that, I filled in the space a bit more with some horns. Now with that part done, I brought in the hip hop drums and layered that in there as well. Next came the stealth music, which needs to be minimalistic, but with dashes of tension. So for this part, I picked up the electric guitar and played a line that I let pretty much guide the whole piece. From there, I added some pulses with a sub bass. To finish it off, I added some window dressing with some percussion elements and some strings. And with these window dressing elements, I simulated sort of an adaptive music approach, where they appear and disappear based on what the gameplay is doing. With the combat music, I wanted to do something a little different, so I made it energetic, but also a bit unconventional. The main element of the track where this is apparent is the drum pattern. Now I won't spoil the idea here, but let me know when you hear it and tell me how you like it. Now I kept the musical idea, the motif, from the stealth section and let it play out through here as well, and then supported it with a lot more instrumentation and brought in a couple of changes. I didn't want to jump around too much with this combat music, but I also wanted some changes to help keep it feeling fresh. So we have musical through lines in the form of motifs, we have supporting instrumentation, and we have some changes for the different styles of gameplay. Now let's take a listen to it together. Here's the remake for Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
I'm at another hideout.
Ooh, awesome. Just reorganized my notes for the podcast series, and I am ready to dig in. Go find that jammer.
Someone's messing with us! Get up here!
Nope. Good guess.
Hey, so I checked this location against local crime reports. Guess what? A while back, the Magia and that white group, obviously free thinker underground, got into a shootout.
Underground went after the Magia? Like the crime families?
Blind respect. Makes sense they try and figure out the head of stunning people class. Where'd the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man thing come from?
My mentor came up with this.
I like it. I mean, first I thought it was kind of cornball, but now I like it.
Thanks?
So, how should Spider-Man Miles Morales have sounded? Like this? Something else? Let me know in the comments. So if you liked the video, go ahead and backhand slap that like button. Also, if you haven't, hey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button too. Next video, you won't miss it if you hit the button, all right? We're cooking in the kitchen for the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'll see you when I see you.